Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Global Language Podcast. If you are learning English and you want to speak more naturally, think more clearly, and feel more confident, this episode is for you. Before we begin, take a moment to subscribe to this channel. Subscribing helps you stay consistent, and consistency is the key to progress. Now, take a deep breath, relax, and let's begin. Most English learners believe that the biggest problem is vocabulary or grammar, but in reality, the biggest challenge is not language knowledge. The biggest challenge is mindset. Many learners understand English, but they don't think in English. They translate in their head. They think in their native language first, then try to convert their thoughts into English. This process is slow, tiring, and stressful. Let me say an important sentence now. Please listen carefully and repeat it with me. Thinking in English is a skill, not a talent. Again, thinking in English is a skill, not a talent. Thinking in English does not happen suddenly. It is not magic. It is trained slowly through repetition, exposure, and patience. When you stop translating word by word, your brain becomes faster and calmer. I remember a time when every sentence felt heavy. Before speaking, I would think too much. I would worry about grammar. I would worry about mistakes. And because of that, I spoke less. One day, I realized something important. Fluency does not come from thinking perfectly. Fluency comes from thinking simply. Repeat this sentence slowly. Fluency comes from simplicity, not perfection. Again, fluency comes from simplicity, not perfection. When you think in English, you don't look for perfect sentences. You look for clear ones. You don't search for advanced words. You use familiar words confidently. This is where shadowing becomes powerful. Shadowing trains your brain to follow English rhythm without translating. When you repeat after a speaker, your brain learns patterns naturally. You don't analyze, you imitate, and imitation is how humans learn languages. Here is another important sentence to shadow. Shadowing helps your brain follow English naturally. Again, shadowing helps your brain follow English naturally. At first, thinking in English feels uncomfortable. Your brain wants to go back to your native language. That is normal. Don't fight it aggressively. Guide it gently. Start with simple thoughts. Start with your daily life. For example, instead of thinking, I need to go to the store in your native language, say it in English in your head. Say it slowly. Say it again. This is mental shadowing. Repeat this sentence. Small daily thoughts build English thinking habits. Again, small daily thoughts build English thinking habits. Another problem learners face is fear. Fear of sounding stupid, fear of making mistakes, fear of being judged. But thinking in English is a private process. No one hears your thoughts. This is your safe space to practice. Let me repeat something very important. You don't need permission to think in English. Again, you don't need permission to think in English. When you think in English, mistakes don't matter. There is no audience. There is no pressure. This freedom is powerful. It allows your brain to experiment. Mindset matters here. If you believe I'm bad at English, your brain will resist. If you believe I'm learning, your brain will cooperate. Repeat this sentence carefully. Your mindset shapes how your brain learns English. Again, your mindset shapes how your brain learns English. Another key idea is patience. Thinking in English is not fast at the beginning. Your brain needs time to adjust. Just like muscles, your brain strengthens through repetition. Some days, thinking in English feels easy. Some days, it feels impossible. That doesn't mean you are failing. It means you are training. Repeat this sentence slowly. Difficulty is part of the learning process. Again, Difficulty is part of the learning process. Let's talk about inner voice. Your inner voice is the language you use in your head. To think in English, you must slowly change that inner voice. Start with simple sentences. Start with descriptions. For example, I am tired. I am hungry. I need a break. These sentences are not advanced, but they are powerful. They create habits. Here is an important sentence to remember. Simple sentences create strong language foundations. Again, simple sentences create strong language foundations. Shadowing also improves mindset. When you shadow confident speakers, you absorb confidence. When you hear calm English, your brain becomes calmer. Rhythm matters more than speed. Don't rush. Speed comes later. Repeat this sentence clearly. Calm English leads to clear thinking. Again, calm English leads to clear thinking. Over time, something interesting happens. You stop translating. You stop searching for words. English appears automatically. Not perfectly, but naturally. This moment is important. When it happens, don't celebrate too early. Just continue. Consistency protects progress. Repeat this sentence slowly. Consistency turns practice into instinct. Again, consistency turns practice into instinct. Thinking in English also changes how you listen. You stop listening word by word. You start listening for meaning. This reduces stress and increases understanding. Let me repeat an important B2 level idea. Understanding meaning matters more than understanding every word. Again, understanding meaning matters more than understanding every word. As your mindset changes, your confidence grows quietly, not loudly, not dramatically, just steadily. You begin to trust yourself. Repeat this sentence carefully. Confidence grows when thinking becomes automatic. Again, confidence grows when thinking becomes automatic. Before we finish, remember this. Thinking in English is not about forcing your brain. It is about guiding it gently every day. And here is the final sentence of today's episode. Listen carefully and repeat. Thinking in English is built one thought at a time. Again, thinking in English is built one thought at a time. Thank you for listening to the Global Language Podcast. If this episode helped you, listen again, practice shadowing, and make English part of your thinking. And don't forget to subscribe. We'll continue this journey together. After a while, I noticed something important about my thinking process. Every time I tried to speak English, my brain wanted to translate. It felt automatic. A thought appeared in my native language, and my brain rushed to convert it into English. That extra step created pressure. It slowed me down. It made me doubt myself. So I asked myself a simple but powerful question. What if I don't translate at all? At first, that idea felt impossible. But I didn't need to stop translating completely. I just needed to delay it. Here is an important sentence to repeat slowly. Translation is a habit, and habits can be changed. Again, translation is a habit, and habits can be changed. Instead of translating full sentences, I started thinking in short English phrases, not perfect sentences, just fragments. Need coffee. Running late. Too much work today. These thoughts were simple, but they trained my brain to stay in English. Repeat this sentence carefully. Thinking in short phrases reduces mental pressure. Again, thinking in short phrases reduces mental pressure. Shadowing helped a lot here. When I listened to natural English and repeated it, my brain followed English structure automatically. I didn't need to analyze grammar. I absorbed patterns. This is an important idea at B2 level. Shadowing trains intuition, not analysis. Again, Shadowing trains intuition, not analysis. Many learners believe they must understand everything before speaking. That belief creates fear. In reality, understanding grows while speaking, not before it. Repeat this sentence slowly. Speaking creates understanding, not the other way around. Again, speaking creates understanding, not the other way around. I also learned to accept silence in my head. Sometimes, no English words appeared. Instead of panicking, I waited. That pause mattered. It allowed English to surface naturally. Here is another key sentence. Silence gives your brain time to switch languages. Again, silence gives your brain time to switch languages. Gradually, I stopped translating sentences and started recognizing meaning directly in English. That shift didn't happen overnight. It happened through daily exposure, repetition, and patience. Thinking in English is not only about language, it's about mindset. Your brain needs safety to experiment. If you judge every thought, your brain will resist. If you allow mistakes, your brain will cooperate. I stopped asking, "Is this sentence correct?" and started asking, "Is this sentence clear?" That change reduced anxiety. Repeat this sentence carefully. Clarity matters more than correctness in real communication. Again, clarity matters more than correctness in real communication. When your mindset changes, practice becomes lighter. You stop fighting your thoughts. You stop controlling every word. You let English flow even if it's imperfect. This is a powerful B2 level idea. Fluency grows when control decreases. Again, fluency grows when control decreases. I also noticed that thinking in English improved my listening. I stopped listening word by word. I listened for intention, tone, and meaning. This reduced stress and increased comprehension. Repeat this sentence slowly. Listening for meaning improves natural understanding. Again, listening for meaning improves natural understanding. Another mindset shift was patience. Some days, thinking in English felt easy. Other days, it felt slow and frustrating. I learned not to judge progress daily. Here is an important sentence to shadow. Progress in language learning is uneven but real. Again. At this stage of learning, something very important changes inside your mind. You no longer ask yourself, "What is this sentence in my language?" Instead, your brain starts asking a new question. What do I want to say? This shift may feel small, but it is powerful. It means English is moving closer to your natural thinking space, not just your study time. Let's pause and shadow this key idea. Thinking in English starts when translation slows down. Again, thinking in English starts when translation slows down. Many learners believe translation is bad. It is not bad. Translation is normal at the beginning. But if translation stays forever, it becomes a wall. When your brain translates every word, your speaking becomes heavy and slow. When translation fades, your speaking becomes lighter and more flexible. Repeat this sentence slowly. Translation is a bridge, not a home. Again, translation is a bridge, not a home. Now let's talk honestly. Thinking in English does not mean thinking perfectly. Sometimes your thoughts are incomplete. Sometimes you pause. Sometimes you change direction. That is not failure. That is real thinking. Native speakers do this every day. Shadow this important truth. Real thinking is not clean or perfect. Again, real thinking is not clean or perfect. When you allow imperfect thoughts, your confidence grows naturally. Confidence does not come from knowing all the words. Confidence comes from trusting yourself to continue. Repeat carefully. Confidence grows when I keep going. Again, confidence grows when I keep going. Now let's connect mindset with shadowing. Shadowing is not just repetition. Shadowing teaches your brain how English moves. It teaches rhythm, stress, emotion, and flow. When you shadow correctly, your brain starts predicting English instead of translating it. Here is a strong B2 level sentence to shadow. Shadowing trains my brain to think ahead in English. Again, shadowing trains my brain to think ahead in English. Notice something important. When you listen to natural English and repeat it, your brain learns patterns. These patterns later appear automatically when you speak. This is how thinking in English becomes faster, not by force, but by familiarity. Repeat this sentence. Familiar patterns create faster thinking. Again, familiar patterns create faster thinking. Let's humanize this process. Imagine you are walking to work or sitting on a bus. You see people, signs, movement. Instead of translating, you describe the moment in simple English. People are waiting. The bus is late. I feel tired today. These thoughts are small, but they build a habit. Shadow this sentence slowly. Small English thoughts build a strong habit. Again, small English thoughts build a strong habit. Thinking in English is also emotional. When you attach feelings to English, it becomes real. Talk to yourself about stress, motivation, disappointment, or hope. Emotional language stays longer in the brain than neutral language. Repeat this carefully. Emotion helps language stay in my mind. Again, emotion helps language stay in my mind. Another key mindset shift is letting go of control. You do not need to control every sentence. Sometimes English will surprise you. Sometimes words come out that you didn't plan. That is a good sign. Shadow this sentence. Natural English appears when I stop controlling everything. Again, natural English appears when I stop controlling everything. Now let's talk about mistakes. At B1 to B2 level, mistakes are not problems, they are information. Each mistake shows you what needs more exposure, not more rules. Repeat this idea. Mistakes guide my learning. They don't stop it. Again, mistakes guide my learning. They don't stop it. Thinking in English also means accepting silence. Sometimes you pause to think. Silence is not weakness. Silence is processing time. Shadow this sentence calmly. Pausing means my brain is working. Again, pausing means my brain is working. As we close this part, remember this. Thinking in English is not a goal you reach one day. It is a habit you practice daily. With listening, shadowing, patience, and the right mindset, English becomes part of how you think, not something you translate. Final shadowing sentence for this part. I allow English to grow naturally inside my mind. Again, I allow English to grow naturally inside my mind. You're doing real work here. Stay with the process. Subscribe to the Global Language Podcast and join us in the next part, where we'll focus on thinking in English during real conversations and pressure